Happy Friday, guys! This week we have some awesome, beautiful coastal vibes in our DIY bucket, starting with these beautiful blue antique hydrangea. And that's what's going to serve as the base of our arrangement. We have this chicken wire here, so we're going to use this for the mechanics. You could also tie your hydrangea together if you like to use that, although using the chicken wire is nice because it allows you to spread the hydrangea out a little bit. And also in doing so, you can keep it visible so that you don't have to put all of your flowers through it. So I like to just roll it so that the cut edges are going towards the center. And then I just roll the top over it so you have a nice rounded dome on the top. And then I just pop that right into my container. So today I'm using something that's a little bit smaller than 5 inches. There we go. I have plenty of flowers to fill it, so I'm gonna tuck this chicken wire down below the level of the vase because everything's gonna pretty much be going in a more vertical placement, so we don't have to worry about things coming out over the edge as much, and we don't have to have the chicken wire up over the top as much. So we're gonna start with this awesome hydrangea. You see all the pretty colors in it. It's got this blue and green. I'm gonna give it a trim. I'm gonna pick off any of these little brown guys. If there's any not so pretty petals, pluck those out. And then we're gonna make sure we cut off any of these little knobs on the side of the stem where the leaves come out, just to keep it nice and clean going into the water. And then I'm gonna measure it to my container. I want it to be sitting just gently on the top and coming over the side. So I'm gonna cut that there at an angle, and then I place it into my chicken wire so that it just sits there like so. And it should cover maybe about half of your container. If you've got larger stems or blooms, it'll cover a little bit more. So we got another right here, super pretty color, all of that like purple and green in there. So same dealie with this. We're gonna give it a trim, take off the excess. We're gonna make sure we have all of the little knobs and nodes cut off of our stems nice and clean. And then we're gonna place this in going in the opposite direction. You don't have to worry if you don't have the entire top of your container covered. If there's holes in between, that's totally fine. That's where we can put greens through, we can put other blooms through, and we wanna keep the hydrangea out slightly so that doesn't get completely buried by the other flowers. Like so. It's gonna kind of serve as like your base. You can even like pull one out a little bit more, tuck one in a little bit more if you want a little bit more like layering of that blue color. The other thing is, as you're pulling these out and replacing them, it's part of the reason why we want to keep the stem super clean and cut off any of those little knobs, because what you'll find when you're working with chicken wire is that if you leave those little knobs on there, or if your stem is not super clean, it's kind of craggy, and you take it out and it grabs onto one of these pieces of chicken wire, it will pull the whole thing out, and then that can kind of jog the rest of the flowers in your arrangement around, which is not great. So I'm gonna make sure those stems are nice and clean so that we can keep editing and adjusting your arrangement. Next, we have some lemon leaf in our bucket. It's a nice foundational green that we use at the base of our arrangements, long lasting and pretty. So we are going to clean the bottom leaves off that are a little bit too large to use in our arrangement. Keep maybe like the top 3, maybe 4 leaves on it, depending on how much you want to come out of your arrangement. Again, trimming those little side nubs off so that the stems are nice and clean. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just tuck that into the arrangement. I'm gonna go in between my hydrangea so I don't cover them completely. Same with this one. I'm gonna go ahead and take these guys off, trim it, clean it, tuck it into the chicken wire. And use all of this. Some people like to use this more at the end, and I like to put my foundational greens in early and then come back with like the finishing greens at the end, although some people like to do all of their focal blooms first and then come back in with your greens after all of those are placed. Either way is totally fine. There aren't a ton of greens in the bucket, so you don't really have to worry about overdoing it, but sometimes that is the concern, is that if you start with heavy greens, then you end up with just kind of like a bushy base of your arrangement. It's not super pretty. So the idea is, like, if you can be a little bit more limited with your greenery, just using enough to hold everything in there and not overdoing it, then you can be a little bit more purposeful with it and you don't have this big bushy thing going on at the bottom there. All right, so put these guys in here. Next up, we have some spray roses in our bucket. So these are a variety called Brilliant Stars, and these are the apricot ones, which are the prettiest color. They're a little bit more of like a creamy peach color. And you should have 3 of those in your bucket. So again, you're gonna edit off any of these leaves or any little knobs, get your stem nice and clean. You can take any, if you have any icky blooms on the outside, but just be careful not to overpick your spray roses. You don't want them to look like a bunch of Hershey Kisses. And I'm gonna go ahead and poke these through my hydrangea, but I'm gonna let them float. So the nice thing about the chicken wire is we don't have to have that much stuff in there yet. We can just add it in and we don't have to push it all the way down, and it'll hold it nicely for us. Do one more here. If any of your greens are nice, mine are not. If any of the greens are nice and you want to leave them on your arrangement, by all means do so for some nice like natural texture in the container. Just be aware that you don't want those greens to be on your stem underneath the hydrangea down into the container. So just making sure that you take off anything that's down on the stem that's going to go into your water. There we go. I'm going to tuck this in here. Just let it hover. There we go. And there's one more here. Here we go. Super pretty. Pull off this leaf, doing the same, getting it clean, and going right in on the other side. Again, we don't want to totally cover our hydrangea, so we want to just have these guys floating so you see them in the arrangement, and you still can see that hydrangea through it. There we go. Next up, we have some Statice, which is in season right now, which is awesome. I do love Statice. The typical purple Statice you always see, I feel like it's kind of a bad rap. It's like a cheap flower, but it really is a great long-lasting flower. It's got a great texture, and this is just a little bit softer lavender, and it airs towards that blue color in the hydrangea, picks up some of these tones in the hydrangea. So yeah, so it's like a great summer texture to add in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate this into a couple of different pieces. Obviously, these two pieces coming off are gonna be too short to use, but this piece would work, and this piece would work. So I'm gonna separate them into couple of different placements. Now with these, you don't really have to clean the stems off that much if you don't want to. I find that if you pick some of the outside membrane off and just kind of strip it, so you have like a nice clean stem there, it's a little easier to work with in the chicken wire. And then you also don't have to worry about having little bits breaking off when you do put it into the chicken wire. You kind of like take it all off first. So I always strip my greens. It's up to you if you want to or not, but I always strip them to make sure that a nice clean stem is going into my water, and then I'm not gonna have to deal with lots of debris in there, creating bacteria and limiting the longevity of my other flowers. I'm gonna clean that nicely, put that in similarly. Here we go. So it's got this nice little, there we go, shape going on. You can tuck it in and use it kind of bunchy, or you can let it kind of stick out of your vase a little bit, which is nice. I'm gonna tuck that in there. And make sure you're just getting lots of layering in your placements. So don't put everything out at the same level. You want to tuck some stuff in, you want to pull some stuff out, so you're seeing all these different colors and textures through each other. I got one more piece in here. So again, I got two pieces coming off. I'm going to cut that down into two pieces. I have two to use. And I got a nice little piece tucked in the center there. I'm going to put a piece to the back here. And I'm going to put a piece up to the front here. There we go. So you got to see it all the way around. Got a couple of different levels in the vase. And you can move on to our next flower. Next we have these quicksand roses. So when I was talking about that coastal feel, having this nice sandy color rose is a great part of it. You're gonna take off any of these outside petals. You're gonna give it a little blow in the sensor just to get it moving. And then if you want it to open up a little bit faster, you can give it a little roll. Quicksands are great for this because they just happen to open like that and they're gorgeous. These also work really well for reflexing if you're so inclined. Doesn't necessarily have to be in this arrangement, but if you're interested in having them stick out a little bit more and having more of a visual gravity to them, then you can take these blooms and just kind of pop them backwards. They're very like soft and fabricy, which is great. Just pop them, pop them, pop them. Here we go, here we go. And then you can see like it takes on a much more three-dimensional quality. It doesn't have all of your petals going straight up, and it takes up a lot more space. So if you are doing an arrangement that has a little bit more space in it and you want to let this hover out a bit and like be seen, this is a great way to take up a little more space and have a little more impact with it. If you want a more moundy arrangement, then don't reflex the petals because it'll just end up getting smushed back together anyway. So there's another one here. I'm going to give it a little blow, take off some excess, and give it, oh, jeez, hit my other guy. Give it a little roll, use it as is, or flip them back. See why not? As we reflex the first one, we might as well just keep on going. 1, 2, 3, and you can see you start getting this lovely shape. Love it. All right, so I'm gonna go in here, that guy. Super pretty. Make sure nothing is like touching. I like, you want everybody to have their own space. So if you put something in and it's like sitting right on top of another bloom, readjust so that everybody gets their own space in the arrangement. We got our third quicksand in here. Getting encroaching. Here we go. Once again from the top, we're going to give it a blow, trim off the excess, take off any leaves that are going to fall below our water line, give it a spin. I'm going to flip a couple of these petals back for drama. Okay, here we go. There we go. Lovely. I'm going to tuck that one in right there. So see them on all levels. They're coming out in a triangle so that you're going to see them all the way around the arrangement. Not all of them are out to the same level. So I've got one a little more tucked in. This one's a little bit lower. This one's a little higher. You get a little bit of movement through there. Always important. All right, our next flower going in are these magnificent Italian ranunculus. These are the blush ones. So these have very like knobby stems. So just make sure you're cleaning them up nicely. Get any pieces off the side. And because they have this nice clean stem though, with also like lovely shape, you can really let these guys hang out outside of your arrangement too. Now they will continue to open. You don't really have to do anything to them. You don't have to manhandle them. They will open on their own. You just want to take off any damaged petals, and then you're going to place it into your chicken wire. This is another good thing about using the chicken wire, is that you can let these guys really like hang out and have some space, and you can really see the stem and the shape versus, you know, having to mush them down in there. Like this lets everybody have a little more space in the bucket or in the arrangement. So with this guy, same dealie. I'm just gonna take off these couple of damaged petals, give them a little fluff, and then clean up the stem. And then this guy, I'm gonna tuck him into the middle a little bit more because right now I don't really have anything going on in that middle area as much. So I'm gonna poke around. Like the only tough thing with the chicken wire sometimes is just finding a space to get it in there. So again, be gentle with it, especially with soft stems like ranunculus, because you don't want to split the stem. So got that going there. And we have a third one. This one's a nice long stem too. So I'm gonna put this one, I'm gonna come this way with it. Leave the stem nice and long. There's not really any editing on this one because it's pretty perfect. I'm gonna come in right here. There we go. So right now what I'm looking at is I have this guy really winging out, this guy really winging out, this guy in tight. So I definitely need to wing something out this way to bring a little more balance to the arrangement. Luckily, we have these really pretty ornithagalum, Star Bethlehem. So with these guys, they will continue to bloom. They're so long lasting and they're so cool. But you will notice that they have these little like, I guess like brown leaves in the stem. So I'm just gonna pull, whoops, oh, lost the bloom. I'm just gonna pull those off as best possible, just so all you see is like the green and the white in there. There we go. And these will, I swear, they will keep like just blooming all the way up. They're so cool. I'm just gonna get any of the icky off for now. There we go. All right. And then I'll put this guy coming out this way because I don't have anything in that direction. Again, we have this nice clean stem. So we are going to show it off. Get that guy right in there. Being very gentle, not to mash anybody. I might even like move this guy over a little bit now that I'm thinking about it, just to get a little more evenness, is that a word? In my arrangement there. So I got this guy sticking out here. I feel like I need something down in here. So we've got another one of these guys. I'm gonna go ahead and clean them up a little. And place it in my arrangement. Goes right here. Really use the shape. You know, they kind of curl. There we go. Got a really nice look there. Got another one here. So there's gonna be 4 in your bucket. This one is nicely bloomed. Just clean up these couple of little pieces. And then I'm gonna put this one out this way because I don't have anything there. And in the process, damage my status. Clean that off. All right, so got this guy, pull this guy. Actually, now that I've moved that quicksand around, I feel like I don't need to be as far out, but I definitely need something over here now. So I'm gonna be 4th one of this. All right, so I'm gonna clean off the little bits, and I'm gonna have him go out this way. And then I'm gonna see that Star Bethlehem all the way around my arrangement. Lots of movement, lots of fun. Now we also have to bring that beachy theme, that like kind of cool sort of like, I feel like, you know, bleached wood kind of look, boardwalk, sandy. We have these really cute scabious pods, and they're pretty massive. You see in there, it's not like they're just brown. They have lots of really pretty like green in there. It's like a nice texture. So you have 3 of those in the bucket. So I'm gonna weigh a couple of them out, and then I'm gonna tuck another one down into my arrangement so that I have something filling this spot here. Because right now I don't have anything there. Now, luckily for me, I have a broken one. So that one is going to get trimmed short, and it's gonna go right in the middle. Now these guys will dry as is, so they will also last a really long time in the arrangement, which is great. So I got a little guy there, a little guy here. I feel like I need another one over there. So let me tuck this guy in there. Here we go. Maybe pull this out a little bit. Always be adjusting. Every time you turn your arrangement, just give it a little bit of an adjustment. Make sure everything is where you want it to be. All right, so everything's feeling kind of even there, which I like. Now we have all of this really lovely seeded eucalyptus, and it's young growth, so the seeds are very small and delicate. It's very lacy, so we can use these in several ways. You want to probably use this tip part as its own, but all of these pieces down at the bottom, if they're too short to use in the vase as is, just cut them at one of the intersections where the lateral stems are coming off, and then use that as a piece and use that as a piece. So for instance, let's just say this piece isn't, wow, this piece is big enough for me to use that. But let's just say I can't use these guys because they're too small. So I'm gonna cut right above, right there, whoops. So now I have a piece like this, and I have my nice tip piece. So clean them off so that nothing is going underneath my hydrangea, nothing is gonna go into my water. Keep that nice and clean. Actually, you know what? This is all the way over here. I feel like I want this to be on the other side. I do. Here. There we go. So that comes out that way. I know I'm kind of in a predicament with this one. I'm not sure where I want it to go. I feel like it should go over here. Maybe I just need to replace this guy over a little closer. There. And then maybe I can do this guy over here. Yeah. Okay. And then adding in all of my seeded eucalyptus and cleaning off all of the knobs and the nodes, tucking them in. And since it has this lovely cascade to it, you really want to let it be seen, like let it spill out of the container, just kind of like bloop. Use as much of it as you can. Make sure the bottom of that stem is getting to the water. That's very important. There we go. A little bit low, so I'm gonna pull that up a little, in a little bit. I should have like 4 stems, oops, of the seeded euc in your bucket. So break it down accordingly. Use as much of it as you can. Here we go. Oh yes. Now, and just because it has a nice drape to it does not mean that it has to come out and down. You can have some of it kind of coming up in that midsection. I always like to describe it sort of as like whiskers on a kitten. You can put it coming up out of the middle, but then sometimes what happens is because it has this sort of arch in its stem, is that it like flops over some of the other stems. You really don't want everybody to be like laying on each other or in one place. You want everybody to have their own space. So I would say to just make sure that you're spreading everything out enough that everybody is taking up the proper space and it's not, you know, contributing to redundancy in your arrangement where, you know, you've got 2 things occupying the same space, or the 2 things that are like the same weight or shape in the same space. And try to move them around a little bit, make sure that you're getting as much out of each bloom as you can. Okay, get this guy in here. And I had a couple more pieces of lemon leaf in my bucket, so I'm going to see if I have any other places I want to use that now. This is my last little guy here. Got a couple of pieces. It's actually a nice little piece, so I think I'm going to add it just to get a little more green, like maybe up in the arrangement slightly. I could end up painting this, I'm not sure yet. Put this in here. Yeah, just to get a little more that lush foliage up in the arrangement. Same with this one, pull a little bit more over to the side just to see a little more greenery. A little bit more of that spill on the sides. Obviously edit edit it to the shape that you want. Right, and I'm gonna move this guy over here so they're not going the wrong way. This guy over here. There we go. All right. Bucket, bucket, buckets. There we go. DIY. Stems all pretty well positioned. There we go. And again, give it a spin, make your adjustments. Make sure all of your stems are in the water. That's something I always forget to do. Move this guy over a little bit. And just keep moving everything around until you're happy with it. I mean, I could have been happy with it a couple of iterations ago, but again, I think a lot of you might be like me where you're just kind of like a perfectionist and wanting everything to be a certain way. All right, there we go. All right, looking good. So hopefully you've enjoyed designing this with us today. You've been inspired by these colors, these cool sort of like coastal textures and colors, all kind of inspired by that hydrangea that we had at the base that came in so pretty. So if you have any suggestions or any comments, please drop them below so that we can answer them, get back to you. If there's something that you would want to see, type of flower, type of style arrangement, let us know. Give us a subscribe, give us a like, let us know how we're doing, and check back here next week. We try to do this every Friday, unless it's a Friday that we don't have any buckets going on, in which case we don't do it. So so we're back this week after not having any last week, but check back with us, order a DIY bucket if this is something you'd like to do. Stop in and shop with us, pick out some cool blooms. There we go. See what goodies we have in stock each week. Okay. And then until next week, happy designing.